Alright folks, so I just wanted to share a little bit of video from a recent vacation that I took. I packed the old lady, the kids, and the dog up into the SUV, and we drove quite a few hours to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. We stayed in Kitty Hawk, which is where the Wright brothers first flew a plane. So that was kind of exciting. It was kind of cool. We went and checked out the Wright brothers memorial. But I took a couple radios down, and I wanted to get some operating in. I think that's what we call it, operating. And the footage you're about to see is going to highlight that. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, if you want, you can hit some buttons down below. There's a like button, a comment button, a subscribe button. If you click them, it'll make you happy. All right, let's get started. We got a place that was right on the beach. This is the Atlantic Ocean, and it'll be my operating location, or primary operating location, for about 7 days. I was really excited to have this opportunity. It turned out that we had pretty nice weather, and the view was great. The house had a screened-in porch with a picnic table, and that's where I set up my station. You see my Bioenno battery, my Raspberry Pi 4 with a MFJ TNC that they sent me for testing and evaluation, my 10.1 IPS screen, my BTEC DMR 6X2. I wanted to do some APRS work while I was down here. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I had that connected to this Edfong roll-up J-pole antenna, and the results were kind of surprising, at least for me. And then here's the view of the ocean. I was using Zaster on my Raspberry Pi, but this is actually from my cell phone, and it's APRS.FI. I wasn't able to pick up a single APR signal the entire time I was down there. So I went to APRS.FI, and I saw these stations, and all of them were reporting over the internet. I couldn't find any that were broadcasting over the air, and I was pretty disappointed about that because I wanted to show how well the TNC works. Here's another shot that'll show some of the HF side of the station. I was using a Xiegu, or Xiegu, depending upon where you're from, G90, and it worked out really well for me. And the Bioenno 12 amp hour battery, it was fantastic. I love that battery. I did charge it a couple of times while I was down there, but I easily got 2 days of operation out of it. The battery's connected to the juice box. Notice there's no inline fuse there, so take it easy on me, guys. I had to put a toroid bead, or a ferrite bead, on the power cord that went from the video cord that went to the Raspberry Pi. But this is the setup. The 3D printed stand worked out well for me, and it was all easy to pack up and take down there. And then here's just a shot where I tried to get all of the station into a single frame so you can see what I was working with. Again, it was very compact, and it was very comfortable to use. Now, I used some material that is typically used to make bungee cords for kayaks to mount my mast for my HF antenna. And then here you can see the mast is a 20-foot Shakespeare Wonder pole, and I have it about 15 feet high. Maybe it's a little bit higher than that. I didn't use the last section. But anyhow, if we walk down the boardwalk, or the deck, or whatever you want to call this thing, you can see where my antenna was mounted to a Nelson antenna 9-to-1 Unun. The antenna was 35.5 feet long with the 17-foot counterpoise running down the stairs. I really thought this antenna was going to be a compromise and I would have to eventually put up something different, but it performed really well and I left it up the entire week. I used the Chameleon RFI choke and I go into 25 feet of RG8X. Let's go inside, and then you can see the coax comes up through a hole that was drilled in the floor and then connects into the Xiegu. I did take a break from playing radio to do some sightseeing and check out the islands. On the sound side of the island, there are some beautiful estuaries where you can observe wildlife, you can do some hiking, you can do some picnicking, or just overall hanging out. I was really taken aback at how beautiful the Outer Banks is. It was a great place to go for vacation.
To 5-5. I think the band might be not wanting to cooperate even more so. I've seen it decreasing a little bit as I've been on here from 2:30 on.
These power lines were everywhere, and I really thought they were going to give me some grief, but fortunately they didn't. I was able to receive some really clear quality signals from all over the United States and then some DX. This would be a chart from PSK Reporter on 20 meters, and I did this early in the morning. I want to say somewhere around 10 to 12 o'clock. And as you can see, I was getting out pretty well on 20 meters on the 35.5 foot 9-to-1 antenna. I found that to be pretty impressive. This was 30 meters, and I didn't operate very long. I should also mention that I operated around 10 to 15 watts. I didn't go any higher than that with the G90 as I didn't want it to overheat. But again, I was able to get across the pond into Europe. But as I mentioned, or at least I think I mentioned, I didn't spend much time on 30 meters. There wasn't a lot of activity during the daytime. This picture was taken a little later in the afternoon, and all of these come from the same day. I did operate on all of these bands multiple times throughout the week, so the patterns would have been different each day slightly, and depending upon time of day. But again, here on 40 meters, you can see that I got out pretty well. The antenna worked great. Like I said, I didn't have to change it, even though I thought I was going to have to.
I don't think there's going to be too many check-ins today, it seems like. WA2, ADS, back to you. You're getting a lot of turns today. K2 is at GW.
K2 is at GW, WA2 ADS. Well, this is going to be my last turn because I have to run upstairs and talk to somebody. So I wish everyone well. It was an interesting topic.
I had a 1-to-1 SWR on the antenna on the 40-meter band. Here you can see that. I just ran this with the built-in SWR scanner on the G90. This is without a tuner. So the tuner was not needed on 40. I did need it on other bands, obviously.
Norway 4 Kilo Zulu and 4KZ calling CQ, CQ, hello CQ. Calling CQ. From the state of Kentucky, this is N4KZ. Norway 4 Kilo Zulu.
Too far from Gallenberg and Pigeon Forge and Sevierville. And you got a nice good S8 signal down into the Knoxville area this afternoon, over.
Okay, Dave. Well, you increased your power and you brought your signal up. You're S9, 5.9 now, so you sound really good. Fine on Knoxville. I've been to Knoxville many times in the past.
The tuner was required for use on the 20-meter band. So let's do a quick sweep, and you can see we had around a 3-to-1 SWR prior to applying the tuner. Let's see if I can remember how to work this thing. And then after tuning, we were down to 1-to-1. I'm really impressed and continue to be impressed with the tuner capabilities of the Xiegu G90. I wanted to stretch the legs on the BTEC DMR6X2, so I took this kite and I put a barrel connector. I don't know how far that kite was out, maybe 100 feet. For reference, that kite's about 9 feet long. And I hooked the Edfong J-pole antenna up. We're going to use it, as I mentioned, on the BTEC. And then I have a bunch of RG 174. I know about the line losses. We were able to get the antenna about 20 feet in the air, and I did make some local contacts, and I talked to one of the clubs down there. It was pretty cool, but I didn't get out as far as I'd like. It wasn't that exciting. Anyhow, this is the point in the video where I thank everybody for watching. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or recommendations, go ahead and post them below and I'll do my best to respond. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it.